Daf Samach Dalet Amud Beis, top line, right at the beginning of the Amud. We learned previously Machlokes Rav and Rav Yochanan if Balei Chaim are nidachim or not. According to Rav, Balei Chaim are not nidachim. Live animals are not nidachim, are not permanently excluded from the hakrava, even though they were temporarily excluded. There was a temporary psul, but when they become fit, they can now be brought, can be offered, can be makred as a korban. Rav Yochanan holds if it was nidche at one point in time, even if it's a live animal, it becomes permanently disqualified. So therefore, we have the case in the Mishnah that we said if the Mishahigral mates, if after the Hagrola, then one of the Seirim died, so he makes another girl, and he makes another girl, brings another pair, and makes another girl. And for instance, therefore, if the Sawyer that was the Azazel died, then this replacement, this new pair, the one that is oil on the girl for Azazel, should be its replacement. And then the Sheni, the second one, so now you have two, which are the Sor Lashem. The Sheni is Yirashir Staiv. It grazes to get a mum and use the proceeds for a Nidus Tzibur. Because the Chum said Shein Chatas Tzibur Meis. Shein Chatas Tzibur Meisa, a Chatas Tzibur, even though in a similar case by Korban Yachid it would be left to die, but not by Korban Tzibur. So we have the Machlokes Rav and Rav Yochanan. Which one which Sawyer Lashem are you makriv? Are you makriv the original one, or from now the second girl, the second one? Rav says you're makriv the first one. Balei Chaim are not nidachim. So even though temporarily it was disqualified, when the Sor Azazel died, it didn't have a pair, so it was disqualified. But now you made a new girl, you gave a new pair, you paired it up with the new Sor Azazel, now it becomes fit. And you're makriv the first one because mitzvah berisha. Yochanan says it was disqualified at one point, even though it was balei chaim, it's nidachim, it becomes permanently disqualified, and you have to be makriv the second one. You're makriv the second one. So Amar Rava, Zok the Gemara Amar Rava, Daikam Asnis Gaval say the Rav, the lashon of the Mishnah is meduik like Rav. Over Brisa Gaval say the Rav Yochanan. The Brisa seems to be like Rav Yochanan. Mas Nisim Gaval say the Rav. The Mishnah is meduik like Rav because the Tani Im Shel Shemes. It says if the Sor Hashem died, if that's the one that died, then you make a new goyrol and you say Zesh all of a goyrol Hashem is Kaim Tach. On the new goyrol, the one that the Sor that was oil Hashem, that should be its replacement. Ve'ida kerekoi koi, and the other one, the original one, the one that's still alive from the original pair, kerekoi koi. So you see that we don't say balei chaim nidachim. You say that the Sor Azazel, the original one, ve'ida kerekoi koi, it remains as it was. It remains in original state. So therefore, you're makriv the original one. So that's a raya to Rav. Brisa Kaval said the Rav Yochanan, Brisa Meduil Rav Yochanan, because the Brisa says Sheni Eni Yodea Im Sheni Shebezug Rishon. It says that the second one is left to graze, that it's Yirashir Staiv. Which is the second one? Sheni Eni Yodea Im Sheni Shebezug Rishon. I don't know if it's the second one. That if it's the second one from the first pair, Im Sheni Shebezug Sheni, is it the second from the second pair, from the second girl? Kishu Oimer Ya'amad Chai, when it says Ya'amad Chai, that it stays alive, it stood alive, then Veloy Shechaver Meis. It's talking about the one that is now stands alive, Veloy Shechaver Meis, not from the original one where its partner died. It means the second one, that it's Shehumer Ya'amad Chai, it stood alive. It's referring to the second one, Veloy Shechaver Meis, not the first one where its partner died. Where do you see from here, Ya'amad Chai, where do you see from here that we're talking about the second one and not the first one? More answer, Ya'amad Chai, it says Ya'amad Chai, it shall be stood alive, which means Ya'amad, it should be done. You stand it alive, meaning now for the first time. Veloy Shechaver Amad, and not something that was already stood was already placed and stood. It's something that's done for the first time, not that was one which was already when the past was placed, was now stood alive. It's something that this is done for the first time, so that shows you that it is the soyer of the second gyral. That shows you that the first one was nitcha. It's Balei Chaim, it was nitcha. Taisus points out that even though it's Braisa's Kavasi Rav Yochanan, but Rav Yochanan didn't learn out from the limit of Yamad Chai, he learned it out from Behem. But nevertheless, the halacha accords with the Rav Yochanan, even though the limud is not the same, but the halacha is consistent with what Rav Yochanan says. Tanan, we learned in our Mishnah, V'oid Amar Yehuda. So in our Mishnah said that the Chum say that Hasheni Yer Shistayim, that the second one is grazes till it gets a mum, v'yimachar v'yiplu dom l'nadava, and it gets a mum and it's sold, and the proceeds are used for nadava. The Chum said Shein Chatas Sibur Mesa. Now, even though if this would be a Chatas, a Yochid is halach l'mayshmi Sinai, that it's Mesa, but this is a korban sibur, Shein Chatas Sibur Mesa. That's what the Chacham said. But Rav Yehuda said, no, Thomas. He argues. He says, even a Chatas of a Tzibur, it's Thomas, it's left to die. Not to graze, to get a mum and use the proceeds, it's left to die. That's one point. V'oid Amar Rav Yehuda, Rav Yehuda said additionally, he said, Nishbach Adam, if the Sorel Hashem, the blood was in a cup and it spilled out, Yomas HaMishtaleach, the Sarah Mishtaleach is left to die. It's left to die. Mesa Mishtaleach, if the Mishtaleach died, Ishafech Adam. The blood is spilled out. So he said these two halachas. Where he argued on the Chacham. So the first one was that he held that a Chatas Atzibur also is left to die, and also this latter halacha. So tonight, V'oid Amar Rav Yehuda said, Nishbach Adam, if the blood spilled out from the Sorel Hashem, Yomas HaMishtaleach, the Sorel Mishtaleach is left to die. Mesa Mishtaleach, Yishafech Adam. So now, Bishlam Rabbi Yochanan Amar Balei Chaim Nidachim, who says Balei Chaim Nidachim, so we understand Mishum Hachi Yomas HaMishtaleach. That's why we understand that if the blood spilled out, the Mesa Mishtaleach, because right now it's not fit. Now, even though later on you'll do another Gairal and get another Soyer Hashem, but right now it's not fit, right now it's not Nitcha, even though it's Balei Chaim Nidachim, it becomes permanently disqualified, so we understand. Ela Rav Damar Balei Chaim Einan Nidachim, but according to Rav it says it's Einan Nidachim Amai Yamus HaMishtaleach. Why is it left to die? When you make another Gairal, when you get another pair for it, it should be valid. Amar Lach Rav says, I'll leave it for you like Havina. I'm not saying my law according to Rabbi Yehuda, Ki Amina Libid Rabbanan. I'm saying it according to the Rabbanan. And as Rashi explains, and forget, from here, he gufa. You see that Rabbi Yehuda is arguing on the Rabbanan on both points. He argues on one point, he says that the Rabbanan say, Yerusha Yisnaim, Shein Chatas Sibur Mesa. He says, no, Rabbi Yehuda says Thomas. V'oidar Amar Rabbi Yehuda, meaning, I argue on your latter point. And I also argue on your first point, that you say Balei Chaim Einan Nidachim. I argue on that, and I say, no, Nishbach Adam Yomas HaMishtaleach. I say that it does die, because Balei Chaim are Nidachim. So he gufa, from the fact that Rabbi Yehuda argues on that point, it shows you that he's arguing with the Chacham, and the Chacham hold that Balei Chaim are Einan Nidachim. So he gufa, that is the pshat in the Mishnah, and that's why I say that the Rabbanan argue on it. So Gemara says, Bishlam Rav. According to Rav, we understand Baha Plag Rav Yehuda Rabbanan. So as we just explained, Bishlam Rav, we understand. This is Machlekes Rav Yehuda Rabbanan. They argue on both points. They argue on whether a Chatas Sibur is Thomas or Tzira, and also on this point itself, whether Balei Chaim Nidachim. And that's what Rav Yehuda says, that he says if it's Nishbach Adam Yomas HaMishtaleach. But according to Rabbi Yochanan, what is now with the statement of Rabbi Yehuda, the Nishbach Adam, Yomas HaMishtaleach, Mesa Mishlach, Yishafech Adam, what is the argument? If you say that the Chum also agree that Balei Chaim are Nidachim, so what is the machlekes over here? I already said that the Mishnah is meduik like Rav. It's meduik from the Mishnah that the Chum hold like Rav and they hold Balei Main and Nidochim. And he goofen, that's machlekes Rabbi Yehuda and the Chacham. Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah that the Chatlas Sibor does not die. So the case talking where the Sur Lashem died, so now you have one Sur Lazozel that's left. Now you have to make another Gairol, to make another pair, to have a replacement for the Sur Lashem that died. You make another Gairol, now you have two Seirim Lazozel. You have the original one, and now you have the new Gairol. So we say that the second one is left to graze, Yerchi Stiv, and it gets a moon. So the second one, now the question is which is the second one? The second one from the first pair or the second one from the second pair? So according to Rav, the one that's used is the one from the first pair, because Balei Main Nidochim, and the second one means the second one from the second pair. According to Rabbi Yochanan, it's the second one from the first pair. So we say she'ein chatas at tzibur mesa. So it's here she's staiv. It grazes till get some mum. Use the proceeds for a nidus tzibur because a chatas tzibur does not die. Even though we have a lach l'maysh misina about that a chatas is comparable as lemisa, it's left to die, but that's by yachid, not by a tzibur. The yachid ki I gav the mesa, but if it a yachid, it would be a private one, a private carbon. It would be left to die. So, Bishlam Rav Yochanan, we understand it according to Rav Yochanan. How is that? Meaning, what's the issue over here? We have a machlekes as a Mishnah. Tomorrow we have a machlekes between Rebbe and the Chachamim. If a person has he's mafresh an animal for his chatas, he lost it and he had a replacement one. Now he has both of them. So, according to Rebbe, he can choose whichever one he wants. The second one is left to die. That's chatas shemeisa ba'aleh. The Rabbanan hold, however, they hold it, no. That only applies when you found the chatas after you were mechaper with the replacement one. But if you found it before the kapora, before you were makar the korban, and you have both of them in front of you, they hold that that's not the case of the lach l'mayshim Sinai. If you found it beforehand, then it's yershei stayv. So, since we have that machlekes, Bishlam Rav Yochanan, we understand according to Rav Yochanan. So he says that the one that's left to graze, the Yerchei Stayv, is the second goat from the first pair. So therefore we understand it, that's Kedarabava Amarav, that it's according to the explanation of the machlekes of Rabbi Nachomim, of Rabbi Abba Amarav, Rabbi Amarav, he said, Hakol Maidim Shiniskaper B'Shein Avuda, both the Rabbanan and Rabbi agree that Im Niskaper B'Shein Avuda, that if he had both of them in front of him, and the one that he picked. So he lost one, he was mafresh replacement one, he found it before being makar the korban, he has both in front of him, and if the one that he chooses is the Ein Avuda, was the one that was not lost, the replacement one. So then everyone agrees in that case, Avuda Mesa, that the one that was lost, the first one, the original one, then that's Misa. Everyone agrees in that case that it's Misa, it's not Yershei Stayv. So the machlekes is only if he was in skaper with the avuda, with the one that was lost, with the original one. And that's where we have the machlekes. Over there, the chachamim hold that that's not the halacha l'mayshim Sinai of Mesa, because that's not the one that was lost. But Rebbe holds that nevertheless, it also is Misa. It applies in that case also because it was designated to be the replacement for a lost one. So he says it's Misa in that case as well. So we understand that according to Rav Yochanan, we understand that if this would have been in the case of our Mishnah, if it would have been a private korban, we would have said that a private one is left to die. So it's only because it's a chatas sibur that's not left to die. But if it would be a chatas of a yochid, it would be left to die. Because in this case over here, according to Rav Yochanan, which one do you use? You use the second one. So you're using the second one, so it's like equivalent. that in the case, it's equivalent to a case of niskaper b'she'ena avuda. You did not have the kapara with the one that was, you would have the kapara with the one that was ein avuda, you had the kapara with the one which was not lost, you didn't have the kapara with the original one, and therefore, everyone agrees that in that case, when you're niskaper b'ein avuda with not the original one, with the second one, that the original one is lamisa. So here, according to Rav Yochanan, your kapara is the one that you choose is the second one, not the first one. You don't choose the first one. So it's equivalent to niskaper b'shein avuda. And therefore, the only reason that it's here in the Mishnah according to the Chamim is because it's a chatas sibur. If it would have been a chatas of a yachid, it would be lamisa. We understand that. But according to Rav, that the one that you use is the first one is the avuda Rav havle kamafish de chatos lachrayis. It should be considered like if you're mafish two chatos for a chrayis. Neither one is lost. You were mafish one, and then you're mafish a second one, not because the first one was lost, just to have a substitute, a backup. Then it's equivalent to that case over here, because according to Rav, you're going to use the first one. The second one is equivalent to just as an achrayas, because you're using the first one in any event. So it's like a case of mafish shtei chatos lachrayas v'amaravoishya hifish shtei chatos lachrayas miskaper ba'achasem v'hashniya tira, and the second one is tira because in this case neither of them were lost, neither of them were avuda, so it's tira. So according to Rav, where you're being miskaper with the original one, with so to speak, with the ein avuda, so to speak, therefore it's like miskaper. It's like you have shtei chatos lachrayas, or it's miskaper with one. The shein is tira, because what you're using is the first one. Now the second one was not lost, and therefore even if this would have been a private chatos, it wouldn't have been mesa. The Gemara answers cave on the Amar Rava Rav Savar like Rav Yesi, but since Rava said that Rav holds like Rav Yesi, meaning even though Rav holds and theoretically you could use either one of them, because even though the first one was temporarily nidcha, it does not become permanently disqualified. But since he holds like Rav Yesi, Domer Mitzvah Berishan, that holds that the one that you should use is the first one, so therefore the second one was never predestined to be used. You were never going to use the second one. It was only there for the purposes of the gyro. Therefore, from the beginning, right from the outset, it's like designated to be lost. Meaning, therefore, it's no worse than if you designated it to be a replacement for the first korban. And therefore, just like in that case, Rebbe says that it's Tammuz, then here also he would hold as Thomas. And Rav, therefore, holds like Rebbe. And therefore, the reason why it's here that it's here Sejistai because it's Shal Tzibor, but if it would be a Yachid, Shal Yachid, in this type of a case, in a similar case, then it would be Tammuz.